On today's episode, we got a cautionary tale about maybe what not to do when assembling an engine and or make sure you check all the boxes. Stay tuned. So we got a Ford, no, this is a standard 6.0 30 over, that's stock crank, some aftermarket I-beam rods and a diamond piston. So we done all the machine work, decked it, line honed it, bored it, turned the crank, balanced, rotating assembly, and finally we were asked to confirm the bearing clearances. So we put all the rods and together and mains in the block and checked all the bearing clearances and all that was good. So out the door it goes. So 5,000 miles later, and this thing's got our 799s that we CNC ported, and I think it made like, in one of our cams, I think it made like 415, I believe, at the rear wheel in the truck. So nice little motor. So customer states that it's eating oil, like a lot of oil. So he's going to pull it down and we're going to inspect, you know, what's going on with the oil issue. So he drops it off, and immediately I see scuffing in the cylinders over on the side. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to be, you know, the rings butted up. So we pull it apart and check the ring gap, and it's only got like 8 thousandths ring gap. Now how it lived 5,000 miles, I have no idea, but we're going to bring you in here and show you the ring gap and the cylinder wear. So we got a ring in number 1 and got it squared up, and this is 7 thousandths feeler gauge, and a 7 is, I mean, it's snug. So we got 7 thousandths ring gap. We probably should have, I don't know, 18, 19, somewhere in that window for gap on this deal. Yep, so you can see all that on the side, and I'm sure that's from the ring button up and rubbing the cylinder, and how, and not all of them, but almost all of them are like that. But it's amazing to me that it didn't just lock the ring down in the hole and just beat the ring land slam out of the piston. But you can see on a good hole, can you see? I mean, the crosshatch is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it looks great. So gotta check the ring gaps, gotta check the ring gaps. But that ain't all the problems. So as we were disassembling, I noticed a bunch of in play, and so I knew what that was going to be. So the thrust faces, and this is the converter side. So the thrust face, and then that's and it ain't even, I mean, that side ain't even been touched except one little rub right there. But that side is absolutely gone, and then unfortunately, if you can get in here, the whole thrust face is probably down on the crank, I don't know, 15, 20 thousandths, so the crank's destroyed. But all the bearings, other than that, and just a little bit of trash in the bearings, I don't know if you can see, I mean, the rod bearings look beautiful. And the main bearings do too, for the most part. So all the bearings were good, but generally speaking, and it's not all the time, but generally speaking, the thrust issue, this deal's got a 2-step on it. So generally the thrust issue is charge pressure, and not necessarily charge pressure, but volume. The volume of fluid in the converter, and it's hydraulic and trying to push the converter into the motor, and So like, and I don't know, I don't do 460s, so I don't know, but I know like on glides, we restrict the flow to the converter to help remedy this. And you know, in a normal application, there's just no reason that it should be wiping the thrust out. And we don't ever see this, but the two-step, you know, could, because they just sitting on the converter, and it's got, you know, all that time to push on the thrust. So you know, that could be some of the issue. But so now this thing is going to need a whole new rotating assembly, and we're going to have to rebore it. Luckily, you know, the line hone and the decks are good, but you know, we're going to have to fix the bores. So just, you know, again, you know, we're not picking on anybody, but this is stuff that can cause you a problem if you don't know. So if you, all race type pistons are going to have a file fit ring. You are going to have to file them. You can pay somebody to do it with the proper tools, or you can do it yourself. You know, you can buy a hand ring filer, but just know that that's the issue, and make sure you're checking that stuff. And all piston manufacturers will have a sheet in the box, and they will give you a spec per inch of bore of how much ring gap you need for whatever your application is. And especially if you got a trans brake or a two-step, you need to talk to your transmission people and make sure that, you know, we're not beating the thrust out of the motor, because I mean, pretty much this ain't an engine issue. This is going to be a converter fluid issue almost every time, and spacing the converter is not the issue. Converter spacing is not creating this problem. It's the volume of fluid, and the converter is trying to push into the motor. We put a GoPro under one of our customers' trucks that's got a trans brake, and I was blown away by how far that it actually bends the flywheel. I mean, it pushed the whole converter and bent the flywheel a lot. So it's really trying to push the converter into the motor. So, and that's what kills the thrust 95% of the time. But anyway, just wanted to bring to light some, you know, assembly issues that can keep you from getting in trouble and ruining your day and a whole bunch of money. All right, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.